over the last few weeks, you have been tracking the weather. You've been doing such a great job keeping track of the rain, the sun, and the wind. Scientists are great note takers, and you became great note takers too by keeping track of the weather around you. During these next few weeks, we are going to be learning all about the weather. We are going to learn about the scientists that study weather. We're going to learn about clouds and rain, the snow, and I'm even hoping to give you simple activities to do at home that will help you to explore more about the weather. Let's read this short story that gives us a quick overview about what weather is. What is Weather? By Erica Donig. Weather is what is happening outside. It includes things like the sun, temperature, wind, and water in the air. The seasons affect the weather. Each season has a unique weather pattern. Can you tell what the weather is like in fall, summer, spring, and winter? The sun is important to our weather. It helps to give us heat and warm the air. Clouds are created when warm, moist air in the sky rises and cools. The different kinds of clouds let us know what the weather will be. When water droplets in the clouds get big and heavy, they fall from the clouds as rain. Water is left in the air after it rains. When light from the sun shines through the water, it breaks apart and creates a rainbow. Do you know what wind is? It's simply moving air. We cannot see wind, but we see what it does to things outside. Temperature is a measure of how hot or cold it is outside. We use a thermometer to measure temperature. A scientist that studies weather is called a meteorologist. They help us know what the weather will be like. Weather comes in many forms and constantly changes. What is the weather like where you are? Today, we are going to focus on the scientists that study weather and the tools they use. Weather scientists are called meteorologists. Can you say that with me? Meteorologists. Let's clap it out. Meteorologists. Now, pat your knees and say it. Meteorologists. One more time. Let's stomp it out. Meteorologists. Great job sounding out that very long name. Meteorologists are the scientists that study the weather. You are going to be meteorologists too while we learn more about the weather. Meteorologists in my class have a fun chant that we like to say to get our brains ready to learn about weather. Do you want to learn it? Repeat after me. I'm a meteorologist and I'm here to say I study the atmosphere every day. I measure the wind, the rain, and the snow. I check the temperature to see if it's high or low. Studying, measuring, and predicting too. Doing the meteorologist boogaloo. Let's learn more about what meteorologists do by reading this short story. Meteorologist, meteorologist, what do you do? Written by Mary McBride. Meteorologist, meteorologist, what do you do? I study the atmosphere and the weather there too. Meteorologist, meteorologist, what do you do? I take the temperature of the air around us. I do. Meteorologist, meteorologist, what do you do? I measure how much precipitation falls. Rain, snow, sleet, and hail too. Meteorologist, meteorologist, what do you do? I work in the laboratory and outdoors too. Meteorologist, what do you do? I test the direction of the wind and how strong it is, too. Meteorologist, what do you do? I forecast what weather is coming. Yes, I do. Meteorologist, what do you do? I use many tools to measure and predict, too. What do you remember as one thing that meteorologists do? Meteorologists can do many things and work in lots of different places. You might remember seeing a meteorologist on the TV when your grown up is watching the news. Those meteorologists normally stand in front of a big map to tell us what the weather is going to be like for the week. Maybe you remember that a meteorologist can take the temperature of the air. That is when they measure how hot or cold it is outside. When I am talking about the temperature, I often say, "How does it feel?" Maybe you remembered precipitation. That is a big word that for us means something that is falling from the sky, like rain or snow or hail. You might also remember that they can work in a lab or test the wind on boats in the ocean. Let's review what a meteorologist does and then go over some of the tools a meteorologist uses. Hopefully you remember that a meteorologist is a person who studies the atmosphere. The atmosphere is the air that's around our planet. And they also study the weather and the patterns that the weather makes. Meteorologists have to use different tools to help them figure out all the patterns and the different types of weather that are happening. So we're going to review those tools now. One of the tools a meteorologist uses is called an anemometer. An anemometer is an instrument that measures wind speed and pressure. It's super cool because the wind will blow and it gets caught in the little cups and it makes it spin round and round and round. And we find out how fast the wind is going by measuring and counting how many times that anemometer goes around. Another tool a meteorologist uses is a rain gauge. A rain gauge measures how much rain has fallen in a certain area. You can make your own rain gauge at your house if you wanted to. Sometimes, remember, we also call rain precipitation. Remember that big word. We're going to be hearing again about it. Another tool that a meteorologist uses is a weather satellite. Satellites are super cool because they can give us lots of different information and they're all man-made. What happens is a rocket shoots it up into the sky and it goes into our atmosphere. And then, this is our Earth, it rotates around our Earth and takes record of different things that are happening. A weather satellite is special because it focuses on daily weather like temperature or rainfall, and it can also record different types of weather conditions like storms that could develop. Another tool a meteorologist uses is a thermometer. I bet you've had to use a thermometer before. Maybe if you were sick and you thought you had a fever, you had to have a thermometer in your ear or in your mouth. Well, a meteorologist uses a thermometer too, but instead of finding out how hot your body is, their thermometer is being used to find out how hot or cold it is outside. Another tool that they use occasionally is called a weather vane. Normally, we use it more than a meteorologist uses it because they have the anemometer to use if they want. But a weather vane is cool because it can show you what direction the wind is blowing in. They also sometimes use a windsock, although it is mostly seen in airports to help pilots know how fast or strong and what direction the wind is blowing so that they can land and take off on their airplane in a safe way. Sometimes you can even see windsocks on the side of a freeway or a highway if it's a really windy place. Let's review the tools super fast all together. Tools meteorologists use: an anemometer, a rain gauge, the weather satellite, thermometer, a weather vane, and a windsock. These are all different tools, and there's even more tools that meteorologists use. But for right now and for what we're doing, we're just going to focus on some of these, and they'll get to learn more about them at a later time. I hope you enjoyed learning about meteorologists and the tools they use with me today. We will get a chance to talk more about them and maybe even build some of your own at home. All right, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.